That's
Why do you
probably
not
your
like
best
it?
bet.
Well, every time it just like flops down.
It
It's
always
like,
does
"Meh."
weird stuff with her.
Let there be light.
Oh.
You get the light from my head shining off of it.
Really just makes you
Jen,
glowy.
you were literally in a cave.
I was in a cave.
You were in a cave.
Let me out of the
You're out
cave
now.
closet.
But it's a cave closet.
Doug, I love you.
All right.
You want to do a mic check? Hey, Michael.
No, you guys are all set.
Rachel, I think you're okay.
I think I'm moderately caffeinated, so.
Michael, do you need to do a mic check? Are you going to be on high energy today? Or did that barefoot get to you?
Oh my goodness.
Barefoot slowing
We're not
down.
hanging out anymore.
Yeah, how often you walk around your bare feet? Slow you down.
Just slow you down.
All right, you ready? You ready?
I think we are. You'll introduce her?
Yeah.
All right. In 3,
What are you waiting for, Doug?
2, 1.
Welcome to 614Femprenuer, Columbus's #1 female entrepreneur show. Today's show is brought to you by the LKW Home Team for all of your real estate needs.
Yeah.
And No Drip Painting for your painting needs. JKW, how's it going today?
In the house. Hey, Michael, how are you?
Good. I'm great.
Good. Jen Kessel-White here, your favorite Columbus real estate agent, real estate investor. And you know what? I just love seeing females succeed. So that's why we are here today on 614 Femprenuer with my girl, Christina Basham of Bubbles and Agave. Hey, Christina, welcome.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you.
I feel like we should talk about her hat just for a minute.
I think
'Cause she's
that's a great
rocking
idea.
it.
It's October 1st while we're recording, and Christina is wearing her October hat.
I might have gotten a little excited.
Yeah.
I do have a black witchy vibe-esque
Yes.
hat on.
I love it.
And you're rocking it so very
Thank
well.
you.
I don't know, Michael, do you think you can rock a
No,
hat?
and that's the truth is that I'm jealous that I can't wear
I'm
something like
jealous,
that.
too. Christina says I'm cool enough to rock that hat, but I don't know.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Totally.
I'm gonna take that in.
Okay, stay tuned. We'll try it out on
Yep.
you.
Tis the season, so.
Okay, hey, Christina, let me ask you to tell us a little bit about Bubbles and Agave.
Sure. So Bubbles and Agave is a consultancy I launched last fall. I had been accruing side hustles for a long time and kind of wanted to legitimize them and get a little more organized and be a little bit more serious about my personal brand. I work in the spirits industry. I work for a small craft local distillery, and that was and still is very synonymous with who I am. So I wanted to kind of create space for myself to do what I wanted to do. I still love working with them, but yeah, so that's kind of how it started. So Bubbles and Agave is kind of a hybrid consultancy. We do a lot of different things. It started off by doing kind of satellite bartending or cocktail catering, if you will, for people who needed a bartender for their weddings. I also started doing wedding coordinating because I really loved that. Bar was super high, and that's just kind of how I work. I really thrive in those environments. So that was happening. I would have friends ask, or I would be referred to people who needed someone day of who understood the ins and outs of venues and working with vendors and whatnot. And I had a lot of experience from being in hospitality doing all that stuff. So
Is this like a fun industry to be in? Because I feel like it sounds fun.
it's very fun.
But
Yeah,
it's very hard, too.
it's
not
a lot.
easy.
I mean, it's not simple. It's not easy, but it's simple, but not, I don't know. It's super fun. I wouldn't trade it for anything, but it can wear on you for sure. Yeah. I mean,
what did
it's
you call
grind
yourself?
for sure.
A spirit?
I'm considered a spirit professional. So
spirit
because
professional.
I work in the spirits industry, so
Yeah, I love it.
That's what I would refer to myself as. Like I'm a young professional person. I work in the spirits industry, and that's kind of what I focus on. So I'm a booze nerd.
Booze nerd.
I love that.
But other things started happening. People would say to me, like, could you come teach us? I started teaching cocktail classes in the venues where I was managing. So I would offer it as an upsell to an event, or I have friends who run the Columbus Craft Cocktail Tour, and they started doing this really cool thing where they would bounce around and bring enthusiasts or consumers to your bar, and you would get like a little half an hour, 45 minutes with them.
Okay, very
So I'm
cool.
like, if I can do this in this environment, I have the skills to do this like in their home. So then I started doing classes at home for people, and they're catered to the spirits that they enjoy, the style of cocktails
Very
that they
cool.
like. So I
How
wanted
long
to
do
empower
one of those
people.
classes last?
Oh, generally just a couple of hours.
Yeah. And
yeah,
so you would
it's
go to
usually like
someone's
3
house.
cocktails.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I bring all the
That's great.
tools, and we arrange how to get the spirit there, whatever you need as far as like ingredients go, and then we kind of set up a bar, and usually like 3 or 4 people at a time, and we'll kind of walk through. I like to talk about the history of the spirit. I like to talk about what makes the spirit what it is, and then teach them how to make some cocktails at home that they feel confident so they can host in the future. I help people, bed out their back bars for their homes. Here are the 10 quintessential spirits you have to have, or the tools you really should have to be, an effective home
Do you have a
bartender
badass
host.
bar at your house or what?
I've got quite a bar. I think
bet.
we're around 220 bottles now.
Whoa.
And that's because I don't drink at home. So traditionally, it's just not my thing. So
Yeah.
if
Right.
I did, it would probably be less.
Is it because you're spending most of your day drinking, or?
No, I don't spend most of
Yeah,
my days
no,
drinking
no.
it quite much anymore.
Right.
I just I like it to be more. I try to make it more intentional.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I can tie one on with the best of them.
So, like, what's a popular drink for this time of year? Pretend it's not 90 degrees in Columbus
I'm
in
like, it's hot.
October,
Did you see my
but
hat?
like,
There's no way.
what's
Yeah.
like something popular right now that would be a good go-to?
Well, I think that that's a very big question, but I think we're moving into fall, so you're going to look at dark spirited cocktails. You're going to look at cocktails that have, if you think about food being an inspiration for cocktails, things that you think of as fall foods, so root vegetables and baking spices and things like that. So that's generally speaking. If I was still behind a bar and I was building a seasonal cocktail menu, I would be looking at like the agriculture around me to figure out what I should be highlighting for my guests.
Wow.
So much more intentional than just
Exactly.
Can I get a shot of,
Here's a Long Island iced tea. Don't
Yeah.
you miss those?
oh no, I don't
A
miss
well-made
those.
Long Island, though, I'm not going to be mad about it. I'm
Right.
serious. I've done some, like, nerdy Long Island riffs.
I
and
bet that would be
it's
so
essentially
good.
a sour with a lot of different bases. And if the sour's,
Good.
fresh lemon and a fun sugar, then
Wow.
you can
So is
really
this
bring it.
is this like a creative outlet for you in a
Definitely
way?
part of it. Because when I moved over from working behind bars and working in restaurants to selling, it was different. I'm not a salesperson. I don't consider myself a salesperson. So I just always joke that I utilize the portfolio that Middle West Spirits has. So I get to do the fun stuff that I love to do.
Right.
And luckily I just
Yeah.
have enough relationships that I can actually pay my bills. So that's a pretty cool spot to
Amen.
end up in.
Bill
Yeah,
paying.
that's helpful. So, or buy a house.
Exactly.
Ah.
Yes, Christina was one of my clients.
Oh, nice.
I mean, I love
It's
their
adorable.
house. It
Yeah,
is
it's really cute.
adorable. It's perfect, and you guys were so fun to work with.
And we're finally getting a fence in like 2 weeks. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Thank God. My dogs need a fence.
Hey,
So,
question
sorry.
for you.
Yeah.
Flavored vodka and flavored spirits in general, love or hate?
It depends.
Ah.
There's some really beautiful craft, like we have
Like a
some
lavender
really
infused
delicious
something.
Yeah, we have a couple delicious like hand macerated infused vodkas that we've been doing for a long time that are like raw honey from Ohio and fair trade Ugandan vanilla, and like you can see the color in it
Oh,
you can
love
see,
that
because
because when
not
I'm
a
thinking of
distilled
that, I think of
extract.
like watermelon.
we think of
Sky, and I'm like,
confectionery.
ugh,
No
ugh.
thanks. Yeah,
Yeah.
and no offense to Sky or anybody
No,
else
yeah,
that does
yay,
it, but
Sky.
I think there's a right and the wrong way to do just about anything in life, and I think spirits are no different than that. So
I like that.
yeah.
Do you infuse your own?
I don't do a lot of experimenting now unless it's for an event.
Okay.
So, like coming up, actually, you guys asked me about this a minute ago, but like Rendezvous Hair Salon, a very good friend of mine from high school owns that. And she does this Black Friday sale every year. And so last year I came in and did cocktails for her guests. And so
That's
maybe
great.
for that, we will work on some, I'll kind of see if she has a specific direction she wants to go in. And then there might be infusing, but
That's
it
cool.
just depends on what the end game
I want
is.
to have you come to and do like an elite open house
Yeah,
cocktail event.
let's do it.
That
Yes.
sounds awesome.
There we go. Do you
Love
have
it.
access to specialty liquors? I'm looking at our girl here, Hype Man Helen, and she loves a good bourbon. The hard to find one.
I don't have special access. Nobody really does. Unfortunately, in Ohio, the state owns all the spirit.
There's no secret door. You knock 3 times. You turn a key to the left, right.
No, the secret door is
A,
in
B,
Kentucky.
B, A
It's the
start.
door into Kentucky.
Ah, the door into
Yeah.
Kentucky. There it is.
You walk through that door, you can get pretty much not
Right.
anything you want these days. I feel like Party Source used to be awesome like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and now it's really picked over because everybody knows that that's where you go to get good stuff. So
Closest to the border
a
also.
lot less regulation down there.
Right.
Yeah. So my suggestion is,
So we're going to Kentucky.
Yep.
something
Road trip.
Think something fun.
So you mentioned earlier that you have had kind of like an array of side hustles. Is there anything else on the side that you're doing right now?
Well, B&A is like definitely my big thing, and within that I do, I work with the bars and I work with the people, and I do the wedding stuff. I really love that.
B&A.
Bubbles and Agave.
Ah, Bubbles and
Yeah.
Agave. Yeah, we're just...
Apparently, I speak in acronyms, and I don't think you know that you're someone who speaks in acronyms until someone tells you. And I was told that recently, and I was like,
that question, but I don't want to be
"Ugh."
embarrassed. What is BNA?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
yeah. I think it's because I'm used to typing it. So when
Right.
I'm typing it to someone, I just put capital B, plus sign, capital A. So it's just stuck in my head
Yeah.
that way.
So
Short synopsis is stuff.
I love
This
it.
is efficiency.
how did you finally take the leap to doing this like full-time, 100%?
I was
How'd you
scared
get
to
there?
death, and I'm not doing it full time, so I didn't take the leap of all leaps.
Okay.
But I was scared to death to do it because I thought there are a lot of people in the city who are capable of doing this. I'm friends with the top cocktail minds and some of the top cocktail minds in the world, honestly.
Right.
And
Wow.
some of them live here in Columbus. Competitive bartenders. I'm the president of the Columbus USBG, which is the United States Bartenders Guild, and I hold some regional and national positions with them. And so, I mean, some of the people I spend time with would absolutely blow your minds. So I thought I shouldn't be doing this because they could be doing this.
Right.
But then I realized after a while was that they weren't doing it. So they clearly
Right.
didn't want to. And I just saw a space in the market for someone. And I'm like, if people keep asking me to do this, and I remember the first time I sent out like a Google like survey after one, and it was, I was very proud of myself. I was like, I feel so professional.
Right.
And they just kind of talked about what did I do for them and how was their experience and how could I improve, because I was always trying to refine the experience, although they're all very different, so it's kind of hard to set one up against another. But yeah, I just said, I can do this, and it's something I absolutely love to do. And
The surveys were coming back great, and you're like, you know what? I'm in.
yeah, I guess they like me.
They like me.
How do you find your business now?
How do I find it?
Yeah.
Honestly, it's mostly word of mouth.
Yep.
I've been so busy with my core job, which is actually I'm a spirit sales for Central Ohio. I also run social for the brand that I work for. So
Okay.
that absorbs a lot of time. I spend a lot of time volunteering with the USBG and with like the museum and some other things. So I haven't had time to really like materialize marketing
Sure.
in the way that I want to. I mean, I have a legitimate website and all that fun stuff, but
Well, that's the best way to do it, though. You're not actively searching for business. It's coming to you.
Mhm.
So you have the ultimate speakeasy business, you know?
Kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really comfortable right now.
Mhm.
And the other joy of it is, I can always say no.
Right.
It doesn't work
Right.
for me. For me, there's like a level of, okay, like if it doesn't work out, if a date's bad, I mean, I still feel guilty. Somebody asked me to do something next Saturday, and I said, I would love to, and I would love to, but I already committed to going to OU for homecoming with my
Mhm.
wife. And so that's like a big deal to her, and she really wanted to go. And so, although I'm like, I would love to do that, I made this commitment. I'm trying to be better about like sticking to those commitments, because I love to work
Yes.
so much that sometimes I don't spend as much time at home as I should.
I know, and she's great. I love Jennifer, not only because she shares my name, but she's
Which
just...
is a really good reason.
It's a really good
Yeah.
reason, I know. But she's an athlete, or was a very good athlete there. What did she play?
So she played D1 basketball at OU,
Yeah, OU.
and then she coached at Ohio Dominican Ashland and Ohio Dominican back and forth for several years.
Amazing.
She
Nice.
stopped coaching last year. Yeah.
Nice. So what do you think that when you went forward and projected yourself to go out on a business on your own, maybe just tell some of the listeners what gave you the courage to do that and what they should do to create that courage for themselves?
I think that you'll never feel empowered to do something like this if you don't give yourself the space to figure out what it is you truly, really want to do. For me, I've always loved to do a lot of different things, and I got really lucky that a lot of them overlapped, and my skill set worked for a lot of different things. And I developed a network over years and years to kind of everything fell into place for me in that
Right.
way. And that doesn't mean to say that you can't do something that's completely outside of the realm that you're in right now. It probably just might be a little more challenging. But I think setting clear boundaries for yourself and what you expect from it, whether it's financial or it's personal growth or whatever that looks like for you. And I think it's pretty clear after that. I'm pretty spiritual, so I think I'm called to be in this industry, and I could have done a lot of other things. And it is really challenging, and it definitely weighs on life sometimes, but I just feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be, 1,000%.
Doesn't that feel good?
Yeah, it really does. Because I think there was definitely a good stretch where I was like, I don't know if this is right. I should go back to school for the 800th time, which is still always on the plan.
Right.
I'm always going to go back to school.
Right.
But yeah, for me, it was just like, I'm inclined to do this. This is so much easier for me in a lot of ways than it probably would be for other people. And I don't think you know that at the time, but when I would see like what was happening for me in a good way, and I didn't really feel like I was doing anything crazy awesome, but I found something that was needed, and I've created a solution to a problem, and I think that's a big part of it too.
Right.
Finding solutions for people.
Totally. What do you hope your business looks like in the next year, 2 years, 5 years? What do you want from it?
It's a great question. You know, I still don't know if I know what I want that to look like. I think that I'm in a really sweet spot right now where I have a lot of flexibility, and I love the company that I work for, so it's never like, I got to get out of here,
Right.
you know.
Right.
And I absolutely believe leap and the net will appear, but I think there are so many directions that this could go. I want to wait and almost distill it down for a little while longer to see what it could look like in
You
its
said
in its
distill
best.
it down.
Distill it down.
You talk
Yeah.
in spirit language, too.
You do.
Acronyms and spirit language.
Acronyms and spirit language.
I like it.
I like that. I'm going to have a whole new set of
Vocabulary.
vocab words
Yeah.
when we leave here.
Well, hey, do you like wine, Christina?
I love wine.
What kind of, are you a white or
I love
red?
to drink it barefoot.
Oh, here we go. So, I'm so glad you mentioned it. Last night, Monday night dinners with Michael and friends, where we talk content and planning. And Michael, what did you bring to the table last night?
So anyway, this interview is all about
So she says she brought
Someone other
Grove
than
City's
me.
finest.
Grove City's finest. I went through the drive-through. Lo and behold,
I
it
think
was
they call it
barefoot.
Kentucky sometimes.
They do, but you got to love it.
Yeah. And what'd you get us?
Some barefoot Pinot Grigio.
So as we have our gorgeous dinner of scallops and halibut and all of the beautiful things.
At least it was paired.
There I
It
am.
was,
Absolutely correct,
it was
you know.
Pinot
Thank you.
Grigio,
Thank you.
yes.
I'm going to keep you around, Christine.
Yeah.
Michael at one point said, I'm a little tipsy. This barefoot's getting to me. Baby.
Pinot Grigio is hard though.
Is my
because
face
it's
red?
Kind of like lemon water.
Yeah.
Kind of like, I
It's-
mean,
you don't
there's
realize-
not,
yeah.
it's so easy to, white wine for me is,
So easy.
I mean, bubbles, of course, right? There's a reason for that. But, yeah, white wine is
Yeah.
like a good dry, like Sauv Blanc or...
That's me. I'm a Sauvignon Blanc girl.
Or even like a Vino Verde or something really young. But if it's clean
Wow.
and crisp, then...
You guys are more fancy than I am.
Hey, it's okay, barefoot. We gotcha.
So you have a background in social media because you said you do social for one of the companies you work for?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I have my own, and it doesn't really get as much love as I would like it to sometimes. I feel pretty good about it. But a couple years ago, Middle West asked me to kind of just help at the time.
Okay, cool.
And then I just kept helping, I guess.
So what, if you're going to give some advice to, say, a new business owner, what would be your first thing, your first go-to on social that they could maybe start doing right away?
I mean, I would say figure out what your brand aesthetic is and your voice is. So for me, when I'm running social for a brand, like maybe I'll have specific verbiage that I will use or repeat for different brands if it fits their vibe. And then also with like filters, I think that's really important. So I only have 3 filters that I use. And if I'm filtering something that's not a professional photo for something else, then I try to like help create that from jump. And then
3 filters that you use for a certain business, for your
Yeah,
personal
depending on what it
business,
is,
or
yeah.
so you kind of pick. And same thing for me. Like if you look at my Instagram, I have a hue that I follow, and it just has to stay within that hue.
Yeah.
And also, there's certain things I can't post that I would love to post.
same.
Where I'd
That's
be
what
like,
the story's
wow,
for.
yeah, that's what stories are for.
That's
And
what stories
you know, I'm
are.
just like, this can't go on there as much as I want it to. So I'm gonna have to like throw it into stories and
Like,
you know, yeah.
Like, give me an example of something like you wouldn't want to put on there. And you're saying you wouldn't want to put on there because it isn't
it doesn't
consistent with your brand?
Yeah, so what it needs to look like for me is it has to be a certain color, a certain tone. If I can take something that I find and I can put it in something that I use called Color Story, and that will tone it for me. And so I have my like essential filters I have in there, and then I brighten it, add the contrast. And if I can change it to have the hue, and I have like a pinkish goldish hue to my Instagram, then I can use it. If not, like even if it's a picture of like us and the team, and I'm like, oh man, this is a good one, but if I can't get it the right color, I can't use it.
Okay.
You know?
I don't think I'm that specific with the color, but for me, I try to keep my feed like, I'm not super editorial, but like culturally significant. So for me, I want people to see that, yes, I I can take beautiful pictures of cocktails all day long, and I love doing that. It's like something, it's to the point now where like anywhere that I go, when I order a cocktail, they know that I'm going to go find the light, I'm going to take a photo, and then, then I can actually drink the cocktail.
Now, would you have taken a picture of the barefoot?
1,000%.
Okay, thank
I
you.
would not have, I would have
Thank
posted
you.
it on my
It's
story.
going to have to go to the stories.
And I would have put it on the story. So yeah, for me, I just think editorial, like a clean content that I would like people, if they open up my Instagram, to see the first 6-7 pictures,
Right.
and try to see a few different pockets of my life and who I am and what I'm passionate about. So, no two, although I just broke this rule and there were 2 cocktail pictures back to back. That's because I was
A little boozy.
they're both beautiful pictures, but I was like, how did I do that? So usually no 2 cocktail pictures back to back, no 2 people back to back. I don't selfie a ton. I mean, I will, but it's not really my thing. I think if you selfie a ton, that's awesome.
Yeah, good for you. It's like I'll do a interior shot, maybe a win shot, like something that we have in contract, something that's pending, and then it's a personal shot, and then it's a quote. So and I can tell you the things that are the most popular, but I still have to edit in with other items. Otherwise, it's just, if you do like, hey,
Well, it's all the same.
it's all the same. And when you get 2 seconds for someone to go to your Instagram profile and
Right.
decide if they're going to follow you or not, like in 2 seconds, the first 6 pictures you're right that
Yeah,
they see, that's going to determine whether or not they find you to be interesting and worthy of the follow.
Worthy.
That's great information.
Yeah.
That's how I do it. I didn't learn. I mean, I've taken some, seminars on, branding and stuff through different venues and whatnot.
Branding,
so that's not
most
legit,
important
but-
thing, right?
Yeah, it just really is. Like,
Yeah.
you have to be synonymous with that. And,
Know your business. Know
I'm
who
going
you
to
are.
make t-shirts soon, I think. Fanny packs. I don't know.
T-shirts
I'm working
and-
on- I want fanny packs.
Bubbles
real
and
bad.
Bubbles and Agave
fanny
fanny pack.
packs.
I would rock that
Yeah.
so bad.
Yeah. I'm looking into it.
Yeah.
Fannies might be a little dated already because, what are
I
we moving
know.
on to? Maybe socks, some like mid-calf socks.
Mm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've got
I
some
like it.
things floating around in my head.
I like it too.
I want some swag.
Swag. I love
yeah,
some good swag.
swag.
Who doesn't like a free
Yeah.
T-shirt? By the way, I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
Right. Absolutely.
Oh, people will do a lot for a free T-shirt. Okay, so
Scary.
you mentioned before, you used a word when we were first sitting here today, and you said you help out bars and or restaurants that are
Fledgling.
fledgling. Tell us more about fledgling.
Well, I can't say that I've ever Googled it myself. So let's
You
look it
hit
up.
me with a few new words today.
Wow.
I'm gonna distill my.
You're going to distill
I don't know
your
what
thoughts and
it is.
feelings about.
And so you kind of help bars that might be in trouble a bit?
Yeah, like either it's a new bar that's opening, the process is really long.
Okay.
So I've worked with a few bars in the city who reach out and say, we have money, but we don't know what the hell we're doing here.
Right.
But we don't want to bring on a GM 6 months before we open. So I can go in and help them build out their back bar. Like, here's what it should look like. Here are the tools that you probably need. Here are the spirits I would suggest for whatever you are doing specifically,
Right.
as a jumping off point. And then as we get closer, if they need cocktail development help, which I do a ton of that, that's actually, I started doing that for the brand that I work for before I even was on the payroll.
Right.
Like back in 2015, I was doing
Wow.
development for them. And I've developed for Beam and Route 23, which is local spirits, simple syrup company, and Jägermeister and Clyde Mays.
Very
and a bunch of
cool.
other brands. Yeah.
So then you can help them build their menu. Do you do training for staff?
Yep, I do technique
Mm.
training.
Nice.
Bar Smart certified.
Is
and
it-
do a bunch of other stuff.
Is it like hard to come up with new ideas?
Yeah.
I bet.
Absolutely. Especially when you've been. Somebody asked me a couple weeks ago, like, how many cocktails do you think you created? And I was
Oh.
like, are you kidding me?
Do you ever wish you would have had a journal, a ledger of cocktails?
Yeah, and I do have Excel. It's not, none of it is organized
Mhm.
because I think I don't consider myself like a creative, but that's a part of me. So some of my admin is very high and tight, and then some of it is all over the place. And it tends
Right.
to be that the creative things
are all
over the place.
that's
Yeah,
what it should be.
and
totally.
the stuff that's administrative for me is not. So, yeah, I definitely have a lot of cocktails floating around, but trends change and things emerge and things diminish, and some spirits gain popularity or lose it, and so things are constantly changing. What's relevant and cool is constantly changing.
Yeah.
Columbus bar scene, saturated or no?
Oh, way oversaturated.
Yeah.
Well, bar and restaurant, I should say.
Yeah. Talk about it a little bit, because I noticed that.
I have a lot of feelings on
Yeah.
this.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the thing. there's always a new restaurant or bar opening up nonstop. Some of them are around really short. Some of them are around longer than they should be. The competition is steep, and I think the hardest thing that I've seen from the hospitality industry is finding staffing, especially
there's very minimal talent. So for me, watching Columbus grow as vastly as it did, and I think I got really lucky because I moved to Denver in 2011, and I moved back in late 2012, and before that I'd managed Wall Street nightclub for a gazillion
Wall Street.
years. R.I.P. Wall Street.
R.I.P. Wall Street.
Some
Love
barefoot
you.
out for Wall Street.
And barefoot and Miller Lite for the homies.
And so I didn't have a craft cocktail background. I had not worked with fresh juices. I mean, I had the hospitality piece intact, and I had, I knew how to be organized. And Scotty was amazing, and he was really organized. So he taught me a lot as a young manager. And then I moved to Denver, and everything was craft, and they were really on the front line of what was happening. And so I always say that in the year and a half I was there, I learned more than many, many years before that as far as development was concerned.
Right.
And then I moved back, and it was just really starting. Like, that was the year that Curio opened. And, like, you were really just starting to see craft have presence. And then, it blew up, and you have all these investors who are seeing this really cool thing happening.
Yes.
But none of them can really back it up with talent or knowledge, or, they've not been in the industry themselves. And the challenges that this industry experience are some of the craziest challenges you could ever imagine. I mean,
when someone tries to open a bar or restaurant, it just sounds like such a fun idea, right? You're like, I can eat and drink, and my friends can come hang out with me
all the time.
And then it's real life.
And it's not like that, is it?
Whoa, it is hard.
Yeah.
So what's the next thing besides craft? Like, do you know? Yeah, can you
craft isn't going anywhere, but I think what we're seeing is, a couple years ago it was like, how many ingredients can we put in this cocktail, right? So like 3 types of bitters, and everything is a split base of a split base being like a base spirit where you have 2 base spirits instead of one.
Oh, good. I was going to ask what that
sorry.
meant. Ooh.
I'm going to try to scale back the Uber nerd. So just for a while it was about the mixologist. That's where we get that term from, and not the guest.
Right.
And for me, I've always considered myself a bartender, not a mixologist. So, I don't know. I just think that there's a lot going on that you'll see, but I think people are going to streamline back down.
like less is more?
Yes, I think people are understanding if you're using quality ingredients, it actually pushes you to be more creative, because
Yeah.
everybody can go like a dash of that, a dash of that. But what if you have a 4-part cocktail? How can you make that like the most interesting 4-part cocktail that ever existed?
Because each 4 parts has to really be on point.
Balanced, yeah.
So, egg whites and drinks. I just have never done it.
Ooh.
Like,
Yeah.
Like,
It seems
I think
weird.
it's gone
It really
now,
does seem
right?
weird.
Please
It's not
tell me
gone.
it's gone.
No,
it's gone so bad because it grosses me out.
Well, sometimes they use chickpea brine instead, which is
Weird?
weird, but good for vegans.
Okay,
right?
okay.
Shout out to the vegans.
But there's also now a vegan foamer you can buy
Okay.
that you can just like
Wow.
put the foam on top, and you don't have to. Making
I
egg white
don't know,
cocktails
just-
is not fun. I mean, it is fun,
I think I'd rather have a
but
barefoot.
it's not fun. It
Definitely.
really just provides viscosity. It just provides a mouthfeel.
I know.
It also
that's
rounds
weird
out
to me.
all the sharp edges of a cocktail. So it's almost like bartender's ketchup.
Okay. Well, I wish we had more time, because I feel like we are just getting into the nitty gritty here.
Serious egg white.
But tell our listeners how they can get in touch with you.
You can get in touch with me at bubblesandagave.com, spelled out. Instagram is bubbles.and.agave. Christina at bubblesandagave.com. I'm pretty accessible.
Awesome.
Hey, if you guys don't know Christina, I just want to let you know that you should know her, because not only is she fun, amazing, smart, but like you have Columbus on lockdown.
Thank you. I try.
You're in the heart of Columbus. You're a Columbus tourism ambassador, are you
I
not?
am. I'm a CTA.
Me too, girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer, can you tell everybody how to get in touch with 614?
Of course I can. It would be my pleasure. So make sure you guys take a moment to like us on Facebook at 614Femprenuer, 614Femprenuer. And hey, guess what? While you're busy doing that, take a moment to reach me on Instagram at WelcomeHome614. If you have any real estate needs, I would love to help you out so very much. And you can also like us on Facebook at WelcomeHome614. And Michael, if somebody wants their beautiful house painted, what would they do?
Yep. Check us out on No Drip Painting. Other than that, thank you for
Thank
joining us.
you.
You were amazing.
You're so great. We
Thanks.
love you.
Appreciate you both.
Appreciate it. Hit the stop on the Facebook Live. There we go. Rachel, I was like, Rachel, where are we at in time?
Oh, I was.
And she was
Yeah,
telling
and I
her,
was
yeah,
like-
she was
Oh,
telling
was
her,
she?
so I was
That's
like,
funny because I was like, I don't know. I can't tell.